All right, today's lesson is on basic geometric ideas, and these are some of the words we're going to have to know today. Now, as we get started with this, I am handing out a vocabulary sheet, and you can use this vocabulary sheet for the whole topic. You can refer to it anytime. You're going to either fold it in half or in fours, and you're going to stick it in your math journal. But today, to start, let's just have it laying next to you so you can refer to it. I put the words on there that you're going to need to know, as well as drawing a little picture by each one, just to help you visualize what each thing means. Thank you, Eileen, for passing those out. So the things we're going to focus on are these words that are on the board: points, line segments, as well as lines, planes, rays, and then how lines cross, whether they cross perpendicularly, parallel, or just intersecting. So when you look at this picture, our question of the day is, how can you describe locations or parts of space? So points and lines and planes, those are all basic geometry concepts. People whose jobs are engineers or builders, construction workers, they have to use these concepts to build things or design things like streets and buildings, even your houses. In this picture, what kinds of geometric figures do you see? You see a? Okay. You're looking for you're thinking of a shape. We're looking more for a figure. Okay. Will says he sees some angles. We can only make angles if we have what? Lines. Lines. We have lines. What types of lines do you see on that building? Right angles. What kinds of straight lines? Okay. Some of those lines go up and down. What do we call up and down lines? Vertical. What do we call side to side lines? There you go. So in this picture, we can actually see line segments, which are just chunks of a line. We can see planes. We can see squares and triangles and other actual shapes. To start out, a point is an exact location in space. How do you show a point? Well, we can draw it like this, or we could say point C, or we could write out the word point C, or we could just label it C. Today we're going to have to find lots of different points. This is what a point looks like, kind of just a dot. When you see dots on a map, what do they represent? Brendan, can you put your pencil down, please, and turn your eyes and your ears to the front? Darius. They represent cities or locations. A dot represents a location. That's right. Now, a line is a straight path of points that actually goes on forever in both directions. Those arrows mean that it would go on forever without stopping. To symbolize a line, we can draw it like this. We can write the word line, BC, or we can write this symbol above it. I put another example over here on my board. Okay? Now, it is possible that you can switch those letters around, and it means the same thing. Line BC is the same thing as line CB. Do you see some lines on the building? Yeah, absolutely. Lines can be represented by the edges of buildings or other things you might have named in the picture. Now, if it goes on forever in both directions, we call it a line. But if we just take a certain chunk of the line, then we call it a line segment. A line segment. A plane is a flat surface. Can you think of other things in this room that are planes? A flat surface. Aiden? Our tables, definitely. Yes. The what? The whiteboard. Floors. Walls. Ceilings. You bet. All of those things are planes. Now, a plane is a flat geometric shape. And we have to have 3 letters to label a plane. So they can actually label this plane, they can label it LMN, just like this, or they can go backwards and do MNL. They can actually name it any way, any order you want. In fact, I think there's 5 different ways you could name it, all of those. They all mean the same thing. Okay? What's the difference between naming a point or a line or a plane? Well, a point is only one little spot. A line is a straight line that goes on forever in both directions, and a plane is your flat surface that a line or a point are on. Okay. Now, one thing I need to go back here, because one thing we didn't mention is a line segment. A line segment is the same thing, except it doesn't go on forever in both directions. So when we write it like this. It has 2 dots on each end. If we were writing this, we would call it line segment BC, or what's another way we could say it? CB. That's right. This is different. This is called a line. We can call this line BC or line CB. Either way. But this is the difference between a line segment and a line. Our room is made up of a lot of line segments because they don't go on forever. The other thing we didn't mention is what's called array. Is that on your blue sheet? Yeah. Array is a line that has a point on one end, but it goes on forever in the other. So we would call this ray BC. Here's my example on my board, line DE. It doesn't matter if you draw it the other way. That makes no difference. And it doesn't matter which comes first. That doesn't matter either. Okay? We just have to be careful today when we're practicing that we put the right symbols above. Now also on your sheet it talked about how sometimes lines cross each other. They meet. Now if they meet and they make a perfect T, or we might call that a right angle. Do you know what we call the lines that meet and make a perfect T or perfect right angles, Dathan? We call them perpendicular lines. I'm going to draw you a set of perpendicular lines. You should see this on your blue cheat sheet there. I'm going to call that a cheat sheet because I'm going to allow you to look at that for every assignment that we do in Topic 8. You can refer back to that. Okay, come on. I should have had this up. Perpendicular lines, right there. Now it doesn't matter if they cross high or low or right in the middle. But as long as they make a perfect L, we call those 90-degree angles, and tomorrow we're going to learn how to make angles and measure angles. These are called perpendicular. Now, if lines never cross each other, but they go on forever without touching, what do we call those kinds of lines? Those are called parallel lines. It doesn't matter if they go up and down, side to side, as long as they are exactly parallel. The other type of crossing lines are what we call intersecting lines. They cross each other somewhere, but they don't make a perfect L in the corners. Here's another set of intersecting lines. Here's another set. Barely. It almost looks like a T, but if you look really close, it's not. Yep. And there is actually a little symbol that's going to help you. If you see a little square like this anywhere in the corner, it means that it made a perfect L. It means that it's perpendicular. There would be 4 of them right here. All 4 of these would be perfect L's, but none of the rest would be. Okay. We are going to take a look at some lines here. And I want you to name me a point on this picture. Sarah, give me a point. S. One other point. Will? Easy, right? There's how many points total in this picture? Okay. Next, can you find any line segments in this picture? Remember, a line segment is a line that is just a chunk out of a line. Darius? Well, you are, this is so tough because you would have to start with A, but P, that goes on forever over there. So that's not going to work. AP is a ray. It starts at an endpoint and it goes on forever in the direction of the P. What do you, there are none. These are all lines. Every single one of these are lines or rays. There is no line segment on here. Now, if I had there, then AG would be a line segment, or GA. But that's because it doesn't go on forever in either direction. New picture. Tell me 2 intersecting lines. They just need to intersect. Aiden? PT and SC. Those 2 lines don't intersect at all. Oh, you want to change your mind? Okay. AK. And very good. These 2 are intersecting lines. They cross each other, but they don't make a perfect T. Okay, there was more than just that one. He just gave us one example. Tell me 2 parallel lines from this picture. Alexis? AK and another line that's perfectly parallel to it. SC. Those are both parallel lines. There's more than that example, but move it on. I need to check really quick to see where we are for time here. Okay. All right. First question. Brianna saw a map, and it had 3 horizontal parallel lines and then 1 street that was perpendicular to those. Which one is it? 3 horizontal lines and then 1 line that was perpendicular to it. Eileen? Perpendicular means it makes a perfect T. Yes. Here's 3 horizontal lines and then a line that was perpendicular. It made a perfect T. Next question. Out of this picture, tell me 2 lines that are perpendicular. Will? I need lines though, not points. Points can't be perpendicular. Points are just dots. They're just spots on a plane. I want 2 lines that are perpendicular. If you can't remember what perpendicular is, refer to your blue sheet. JB and say it again. And DH, those are perpendicular. I don't think this was one of our choices, but I'll accept that. That's okay.